Welcome to the B-Sides and Beers podcast.
Welcome to B-Sides and Beers episode 87. Tonight we're talking Canadian rockers, The Tea Party. What's going on, guys?
Hey, man. In the river. I can't do it. Hey, St. Peter. My veins. Had the gates of heaven.
Good. Felt like I was back in grade 11 all week.
Yeah. Yep, that's about it.
Yeah. You got to go back further than that. It's further than that. Yeah.
Yeah. When was the EP released? 91? 90.
91, yeah.
Well, we'll talk about this when we got into this because I got stories connected to this too.
All right.
But this is partly a beer show too. So why don't we start with the beer portion first before we just drink it all down? And you know what? I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna do it.
Let's start with
hell
you,
yeah,
because you didn't have any
I
last
can't remember if you had this one or not, or if this is one from the summer or not. But it's a Parallel 49 offering, and it's the Cheerio.
I had that.
Cheerio. How is it?
Cheerio. I will let you decide. You tell me.
Yeah, the cherry cola sour, 4.8% vanilla extract. I'm gonna give it a go. But it's again a kind of you buy the book by the cover. It's a nice cherry bomb. And I'm going a little fruity on this one too. This one is from Bomber Brewing. This is the Lemoncito Loco. That is the salted lime lager.
Nice.
That'll be good.
Yeah. So I don't really know which one.
Is it going to explode like a piñata?
49 first and see what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I got. What do you guys got?
By the look of that cherry on the can, it's going to be sour, man.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right.
But maybe I'm wrong.
I just want something to be a little sour, like not a lot sour, but just a bit.
Let's see.
It's pretty sour.
Pretty tart.
Yeah, but I definitely get the Coke on there. Like you can taste that, and the vanilla.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a one and done. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're not drinking a 6-pack of that?
No. No, I'm not. But it looks like Coke in the top of the can too. Sweet. That's it. That's what I got. What do you guys got? Who's
Cool.
up?
Go ahead, Dane.
Sure. I passed through Land and Sea last night, and I had a pint because it was an absolutely beautiful night. And I took home a couple cans, and so this one is called Comexico Hazy Pale Ale. And there's actually a secret spot in town called Comexico. It's in Comox, but it's a nice sandy beach like Mexico.
Oh, no way.
And you have to, it's kind of opposite of this army base that's off of I'm not going to say, but off one of the army bases, and you have to figure out how to get there. But
it's a secret
when you
beach.
do, it's a nice spot. Yeah, it's super nice.
Yeah.
And then another offering from Land and Sea. This is the cream ale. This is what I went out and I got a pint of this last night because it's just good old. Too. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. Pretty simple.
Oh, nice. I like the same logo on the can for each one. Kind of.
Color change.
Yeah.
They've done a really good job. They're just like a local brewery down the street from here, actually, and they got a little kitchen. And the location's all right. There's barely any parking, but I just came back from the beach last night, and someone was pulling out, and I just snuck right in. And I was like, okay, this is the universe telling me to go have a pint.
Yep.
And then, so that's what I got tonight.
And you got the take-home version to go.
Yeah, the triple the price version too.
Yeah.
Sons of bees.
It's just a thing now. Just a thing.
Yeah. Mike, what do you got?
I got two things tonight. One is from Boulder Dash Brewing out of Vancouver, and it is the Wily Wolverine.
Whoa.
Ooh, I haven't seen that one before.
Now 30% feisty.
Oh yeah, look at that. Wow, look at that Wolverine.
For some
Yeah,
reason, I'm
that's-
getting
that's-
Bazooka Joe vibes off the design of that, the colors on that can. I don't know why. Maybe it's the red
Yeah.
kind of bubble thought
Yeah.
tagging there.
Kind of see that.
It's like the Wildcat Strong, basically, of the Balderdash lineup.
Totally. Totally. Same diff. And I'm switching it up for my next one with a Jameson Irish whiskey, ginger and lime.
Yeah. Nice. That'll go down good.
Nice and refreshing for summer.
Yeah. Right
on.
And the hot heat.
Hot heat.
So yeah, that's what I got.
Tea party.
Tea party.
The tea party, man.
Yeah.
How do we start this off?
I don't know. I got lots of thoughts in my brain, different rants that I was walking around today thinking about the tea party and
Me too.
just like going back. But let's go back for at least Dane and I, because maybe he doesn't remember this, but I do. Like this album, okay. I mean, I didn't listen to the demo or whatever. I don't think it came out until much later, anyways. But
Yeah.
It's kind of like a demo. It's an EP.
yeah, it's
It's basically Led Zeppelin.
essentially yes. It's complete with dancing too, like on stage.
Yeah.
If it was like if Jimmy Page sang lead vocals there, it
Yeah.
would be same moves. But okay, so Splendor Solace in 1993, okay, in the St. Clement Elementary Junior High Library. I think Rob brought a copy on cassette, and we listened in those junky tape players with those blue headphones. Remember the blue headphones? And we figured out how to. I think one of us had a splitter, and we were listening to Sun Going Down, just cranked, and that was like 94, maybe.
Probably 93, 94. Grade 8, grade 7. I was
Yeah.
thinking it was grade 7.
Like right
Because I
around
remember-
then.
Yeah, walking home through Manissa, which means I was at the old house. So that was grade 7.
Yeah.
Just little guys.
And actually, just on that note, and speaking of Rob, he sent me a picture of the WrestleMania of like stand-up video game that he found in some place that he didn't buy it, but he played it, and it was the exact same one that they had at the Ready Mart or whatever that was, the Circle K.
Circle K, yeah.
on the corner there was the exact same one with like
Wow.
yeah, all of them. Anyway, so I just remember playing that song, and like, I mean, that song is so good, and I listen to it now, and it's like, it actually sounds nothing else like they've done, like on any other album, really. That song just alone, and I mean, the vocal performance is unbelievable. Like he's all over the place with that. He's got so many different ways to sing in that song. He's got like screaming in there. He's got everything. The 12 string sounds unbelievable in there. It sounds so good. The drums sound like they're like in the room with you. Like
Unreal.
the recording of it is fantastic. The lyrics, the entire makeup of that song is like a perfect song in my opinion. And I got to give him props because it's so slow. Like the tempo of that song is so slow that it's just got that kind of like swing to it, and it just works, right? And when you listen to it on headphones, it's great. And it starts out with just him in one headphone and his echo in the other. And it's just like,
Oh yeah.
it's such a great setup, and then it just clicks in with the guitar, and then the whole thing kicks in. It's just awesome. I just had to go off on that song because I listened to it again a couple times on headphones, and it was just like, this is still great. Yeah. Thanks for letting me say that.
All right, that's a wrap.
That's it.
I don't know if you guys feel the same on that, but it's just, there's something about that song.
Yeah, Most definitely. I think that was one of the reasons why, like, T had messaged me and you're like, what are we doing? And I was like, I don't know. Let me tell you tomorrow. And then for whatever reason, that song popped in my head because I think that out of all of them is the one that was the first one I ever heard, first of all. I remember my cousin played it. And anything my cousin listened to had some sort of like satanic devil worship kind of theme to it. So I was like, this is also satanic and because he talks
Exactly
about
what I need.
Satan and he
Knocking
can't
on my
play
door.
and he gets
Yeah.
really
Saint
like
Peter.
towards the end he's like taunting Saint Peter at the gates.
Yep.
And it's like he doesn't actually want to get in. He's just like getting in his face and like, I'm Jeff Martin.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why, you know, back in grade 7, I thought the song was satanic, obviously. But now it's kind of like, for me, it's him sort of bridging from that EP, that real kind of Zeppelin-y kind of blue, poppy blues. But then for whatever reason, I think someone was like, hey, man, this is a little too, maybe you want to like, you know, differentiate yourself a little bit from your idols.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's just do a real bluesy, but like evil bluesy. And it worked. It was really good. And so that was the song that really stuck out in my mind. But when I listened to, I always thought it was Splendor Soils for
Me, I did too when I was a kid. I thought it was Splendor Souls. Soils. That's
I
it.
just never read it,
Yeah.
but it's such a balanced album, and it's weird because I listened to it a couple of times, and I had to stop myself from like switching to the next track, like because of course I'm looking for consistency in like kind of fast-paced, rocky. Like I wanted everything to sound like Sun's Going Down, but there's a lot of acoustic ballads that are kind of like evenly placed throughout. It makes for a really nice album and something that I don't really listen to all that often anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, like as a full album, like it feels like these need to be attacked as as full offerings. Every single one of these, you know.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
every album is an evolution for them.
Oh, totally.
So, you know, when they start off, they're very Led Zeppelin to, you know, they take it to the next level where it's like, okay, well, sure, we sound like our heroes and we wear our influences on our sleeves, maybe a little too much, but you know, they expand and they add 40 different instruments that they're all playing. And okay, well, let's learn how to play these 5 other Middle Eastern instruments and let's put these on. And it just, you know, with their the first 3 albums, they were still musically very Led Zeppelin, but you could tell it was more of a reimagining than a full-on rip-off like a Greta Van Fleet or a
Sure.
you
Yeah.
know, they took it to another level, which was amazing.
They evolved. Yeah, no question
Yeah.
about it, right? And like you know, the comparisons to Jim Morrison, like the fact that he does look like Jim Morrison is
know.
the problem, right? Like if he
Yeah.
didn't look like
Yeah.
Jim Morrison, like he probably wouldn't get compared as much to him. But like, you know, I take a song like "Sun Going Down" and like, you know, Jim Morrison could never do anything vocally like that. You know, like
No.
and that shows you the difference. And it just, and you know, I think too, this album comes out in 1983. They get signed to what it was, like EMI, big label, and he's producing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Which is
just like I
crazy.
can't imagine the pressure on that. And just be like, here's the reins to the whole thing,
Yeah, totally.
and
Okay.
did great.
Okay, this is what I wanted to ask you guys, though. And maybe it's just because it's the Tea Party, and I've always found Jeff Martin to be kind of like a Dave Mustaine character, where it's like taking himself a bit too seriously.
We haven't had a Dave Mustaine reference in a long, long time. I just realized that. So there you go. There you go.
Just Mustaine,
It's been a couple months since we've been Mustained. So.
And it's like, you know, Jimmy Page just like ran up to me in a giant hurry and told me how much he really loved the way that I like use the bow on my guitar. And it's
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Well, it's a good thing he didn't go in the other direction, but Anyway, I was just like,
Rad story.
the producing, I think, is wonderful until it's not. Like, okay, so the song's called "The River," right?
The river, yep.
Yeah, how it starts off with that wah.
Wah,
Oh, yeah.
I
wah,
hate that.
wah, wah.
I hate it.
Really?
Yeah, but then the rest of the song, there's so much greatness in there. Like, there's elements where I'm still like, yes, this is awesome, and that is 90% of it. But there's just a few things, and like, I can't do what he does. I can't produce a song like that. But
I know
whatever.
exactly
I can
what
watch
you're
a movie
saying.
and say I don't like it either. So
Yeah.
Yes. There's always a little like side of cheese with the Tea Party. It feels like,
it's
right?
yeah. Sometimes it's just turned up a little too much.
Yeah. Like there's a few things that I noticed in doing some research. Like even on their Spotify write up, it's Juno nominated. I'm like,
Yeah.
don't put that in there.
Unless you won.
Unless you won one, don't put it in there. I don't know. It's not the Academy Awards. I don't know. Just a few things that I found where I'm just like, or they were supposed to play for, open up for the Rolling Stones on the Bridges to Babylon tour, but Mick got sick, so those gigs got canceled.
Yeah.
But we were supposed to play. Okay.
And we were supposed to open for Led Zeppelin on this entire tour, and then something happened. But we played the last. We played the very last.
Your like biggest idols, and they wanted you to do multiple shows, and you were too busy to do this. Like doing what?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
did you have the studio booked, and you gotta?
He said record obligations are like something like that. Record company obligations.
Well, tack it onto that. They're going to sell more records if you're opening up for Page and Plant.
Yeah,
I would think.
Yeah.
And they give him a standing ovation, man. That didn't happen on the entire tour
for an opening band ever.
in the history of the world.
But
Well, other than Guns N' Roses.
Right.
oh man, I love that episode. I've listened to that GNR episode, and I probably mentioned it every podcast. But it's
Almost,
so good.
yep.
Anyway, I have to say and I'm not sure if you remember this, Mike, but we went to go see the Tea Party. I think it was for The Edges of Twilight. It must have been for that tour.
Yeah.
And I remember Jeff Martin had the crowd in the palm of his hand.
Yep.
Like it was just one of those shows. Oh, T, you were there too?
No, I was not at that show,
Okay.
but I know the flow and the vibe of what he's putting out live. So
Yeah, it was amazing. And like I'd seen Tea Party, like we all have, I'm sure, numerous times. And sometimes they're hung over at like what were those shows called?
Like Edge Fest. We saw them at Edge Fest.
I remember
and
he,
stuff. Yep.
yeah.
he just stumbled up and he was like, last night was a good one. They just sort of stumbled through a set. But this one was at a Shaw conference? I forget.
Yeah, I think it was
but
a shock.
anyway,
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was just the crowd was so into it. Yeah. It was just everyone that showed up was a Tea Party fan, and like it was just a great night. And I remember that, and I remember how much of an amazing live band they can be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And really, the recorded music and the live show, just like a lot of bands, is two completely different things. But man, they can put on a live show if everything's ticking.
Yeah.
Everything's
Well, and it's rad too because they are such proficient musicians where, the stuff they put on the album, they can play it. They can pull out the 12 strings. They can pull out the obscure whatever and do it live, and it sounds perfect.
That was the last show
Like
I saw in Edmonton before I left. Was Tea Party at the Windspear Center, and they did Edge of the Twilight in its entirety,
back,
but
yeah.
not in order
Yeah.
Oh.
They didn't do an order
because
okay.
they said they thought that was lame. So they wanted to mix it up, but so that was good, and they were fantastic. And I mean, obviously, anytime you can see a band in the Windspear Center, that's a go. So, but a great live band. Yeah, they were still good then. Then that was 2015, probably.
Yeah,
that I saw
2015.
them,
Yeah, definitely.
Last.
Yeah, because they came through here too. So
Yeah. But okay, so going back, let's go back here. So Splendor Solace, Jeff Martin produces this, and like I looked up Splendor Solace because I'm like, what is that? Because it was Splendor Soils, but Splendor Solace is like this alchemy book about like it's an illuminated like book that's on display in Germany somewhere, and it's all about like alchemy, and it like goes way deeper than I had any time to look at, but it's like
yep.
serious. It's like from the 1500s kind of thing.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's lots of that, and I think one of the band members did the album cover too, if I'm not mistaken, for Splendor Souls.
Yeah, with Stuart Chatwood,
Yeah,
the bass player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he actually won a Juno for that.
Oh,
He
really?
won
For the
something
cover?
for the art. Yeah, I think it was.
Cool. Well, that album cover's unreal.
Yeah, he won a Juno Award for best artwork for a Tea Party album. For just say the name of the album, Wikipedia. Come on.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great cover. And again, like, I was thinking too, even in 93 and one more time on Sun Going Down before we leave this album, maybe. But like, this is like the same time that like you got like, I was thinking like Mr. Big and like these kind of
Yeah.
bands, they're like doing this, or like even Extreme, like, with the acoustic, like those kind of songs that were going around,
Yeah.
They could have gone that direction too, and it didn't sound like that at all. So that's a good thing.
They did sound different than anyone else at that time period. When grunge and Nirvana is just going off the charts, and to take that path, we're not going to follow this. We're not going to bend to that. Let's just learn some new stuff and new instruments and carry on.
Yeah, no, and good point too, because that's right at that time again that just it stands out in something else where it's just like, here's another thing, like Meatloaf and the Tea Party. You know what I mean? Like they both cut through. But again, another unappreciated Canadian band that didn't make it very big in the States or anywhere else.
They were huge in Australia,
Yeah.
Big in Germany.
Toured 13 times.
Canada. Yep, Canada, Australia. That's about it. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's funny how those things go like that too, where you're like big in another country like that, and like why?
But it's also cool that you can be massive in Canada and Australia and still make a living and still, profit. They did well financially. I mean, it's not like they had day jobs and shit. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like Alexis on Fire, same kind of thing. They're massive in Canada, massive in Australia.
Yeah.
Other than City and Color, no one in the States would ever know them. So
Yeah, it's interesting
But-
how that happens.
to still profit and make, a living off of those two countries, awesome.
yeah, right. Like, and you can go across Australia back and forth like quite a few times. I would think just tour the whole thing. Done. Let's go on, shall we? Let's go to
Yes.
Edges of Twilight,
We had Transmission.
Edges of Twilight.
Oh, Edges of Twilight, yeah.
Great name.
1995.
Holy cow.
Fire in the Head. This is like all over a bunch of music. That music video
Yeah.
was all the time, right? And they used to play the Bazaar lots too. I remember the Bazaar, them on the top of the roof of the building and like going through the
Yeah.
Bazaar, and I remember that video lots too. But I mean, I looked up Edges of Twilight too, and like Fire in the Head. It's Fire in the Head is a book by this guy who is like all about Celtic shamanism. So and it's like techniques to access the shaman's world. That's what
Yeah.
the Fire in the Head is, and Edges of Twilight is a line from Fire in the Head, the book.
Right.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so more like whatever the hell Celtic shamanism is, but some of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And again, that's a little the touch of the, the cheesy side a little bit. It's still kind of cool, but it's just like, all right.
I love it. I think it's awesome. You know what's interesting about this album? And I want to ask you guys if you think it holds up. But first, I want to say I remember everyone had a copy of this.
Yeah.
It's such a, when you listen to it, it's very Eastern music
Yep.
influenced. It's a very worldly type of vibe that they got going on. But every 13-year-old or 15-year-old kid I knew had a copy of this album.
Yeah. It was so big on Much Music.
Yeah.
You couldn't not.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and you're right. There's so much world music and like Indian influence on this album that like, I mean, that's what introduced me to it, right? Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
introduced me to that
Right.
whole side of that, you know, and when it was like, and you realize like how much of an influence it is now, you know, and like this was the band that got me into that. I mean, that and like Led Zeppelin, listening to Kashmir and
Right.
stuff. But I mean, you know,
Yeah.
this was way more. You know, this is beyond, you know, Beatles, Norwegian Wood. Like, it's just like, you know,
Yeah.
there's tablas and, you know, so many different instruments that, you know, I don't even know probably that are on this album. So, but does it hold up? Yes. I think this album is solid. Yes. I love this album. I think front to back, it's so good. You know, and I love like you mentioned before too, about like the acoustic songs that are thrown throughout their albums. And I was going to say it's kind of throughout these three albums too, even in Transmission, but like it gives you a little bit of a break. Like I think of like, what is it? It's the one, it's all acoustic. It's all acoustic, and I think it's like maybe the third or fourth track in, and it's just it's beautiful. Like it's beautifully placed, like right in that after like you kind of get smacked in the face with the first couple tracks. It's great, but then it kicks back in, and then they've got they're the masters at like the very long, like drawn out intro, and then like the ridiculously wicked like third part of the song. You're like, yes, like I love that part where you're like, I waited for that, and then it's like a Phil Collins in the air tonight kind of thing, right? You got to put your time in before you get to the best part. So they're real good at that. You know, So
It's taking you on a journey.
Turn the Lamp Down Low is a great example of that, right? Like it just starts with it feels like you're smoking the hookah pipe, and it's just you're hanging out in the Middle East, and then all of a sudden it just it's so good. That riff
And then
is great.
Shadows on the Mountainside just brings you right
Yeah,
back
it
into
just-
nature, and you're like,
Yeah. And then you end with Walk With Me too. There's another one that, you know, kicks in late, and I don't know. It just kind of bookends it. Great. It just, when I saw them there in 2015, I bought this on vinyl because I was like, this one is one that would be cool to have, and I'm glad I got it because it's again, it's front to back for me.
Yeah. Well, the first three albums seem like they could have been produced by Jimmy Page. Like it's not Led Zeppelin, but it could have been produced and influenced by.
oh yeah,
Not saying that's a bad thing, but just how the song structures are built, and but yeah, I mean, Edge of Twilight, brilliant, and it is one of the rare albums that it is a front to back experience. You can't just pick a song.
No, you gotta take it out. And there's Ed Stasium. Do you guys know this guy? He was the other producer that was listed on this album, and he has done. There's another guy that's done a million albums. A lot of them I hadn't heard of, but he's done stuff with like Motorhead. He's worked with Jeff Healey. Like he's done a whole bunch of stuff.
name's
So he
familiar.
was on this album, but he was not on the next album. So this is the only one that was produced by somebody else. I don't know what the later albums, but as far as these three,
Right.
he was on this one. So
interesting.
yeah, but Yeah, no, I love this album. I even when I look at the cover too on Spotify.
Yeah, the angel
Yeah,
on it.
the angel.
Yeah.
But I remember it had that like kind of like translucent like front to it.
Yes.
Remember that gave it that little
Yep.
that what it looks like on Spotify there.
Yeah, that little extra dimension
Yeah.
to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it had that.
Like the jewel case had a texture to it?
No,
or-
it would had like an extra page on the CD booklet, and it was like a translucent kind of thing that had like some patterns to it that made it look like it was like that.
Yeah.
So those are the things you remember. And you know, I'm thinking too, like you go back, like we're talking like, 1993 for
Five.
Splendor Solace. But like,
Oh, sorry.
But just, I'm
Yeah.
just thinking like being with that band for that long, like that, you're 12, 13 years old at that point. And like, that's one of the first bands that like I really kind of got into. Like when I actually reflect back onto it,
Right.
it's one of the first. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really cool too that they were able to stay together for as long as they have, being, we set out right after high school. We met in high school.
Yeah.
We built this band and we took it out, and it worked for X amount of years. I mean, it's so rare. It's super cool. Find the right cats to do the right things. And, you've got a singer that can do amazing lyrics and play guitar and play 50 other instruments. And you have a drummer that's unreal.
Underrated again.
With completely underrated. I mean, there's so many songs on there with these crazy time signatures that
Right.
once you hear it, I can't get it out of my head.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so perfect. And I don't know, they just play so well together and write so well together. It's a rare thing. So
Agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to
Definitely.
Transmission.
Yeah.
Transmission.
And I think, man, this is maybe my favorite out of the three.
Okay.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think so. Again, it's just like I love it so much. I love when I listen to it again. I love it so much. Like, I mean, again, the hits. I'm not a huge fan of the hits. I got to take the hits out. But like, Army Ants is such a good song. Like,
Army Ants is
it
my favorite song on this album.
The drumming on that,
Yep.
the guitar work, the whole thing, all of the sounds, like, and this whole album too is just like, it's loaded. It's just got so much in it, and it feels like such an experience when you press play on it. You're just like, you're going through it, and I read too that he was super influenced by Downward Spiral, which was not really
Right. Yeah, oh, yeah.
surprising, right?
No
Yep.
doubt. I mean, even the album.
Perfect
cover
timing.
A little bit.
Yeah, yeah. But again, taking yourself in a completely different direction, but not at the same time, right? You still have guitars, you still have the Indian influence throughout this album, but
Yeah.
now you got a bass player who's playing keyboards instead of bass.
Yep.
Like for
Yep.
the majority
Yeah.
of this album, right? And a guy who didn't know how to play keyboards until he got to this album, right? Taught himself how to play keyboards to play on this album, which is awesome. Like, how many people do that now?
Nobody.
God, I think about that. It doesn't happen.
Yep.
I got to respect that. It just, not many bands can do that. I think of like Radiohead, like bands like that, they can just like learn new things and just incorporate them into their music. But
Yeah.
I don't know if I can think of a better one than the Tea Party that does that.
Yeah.
Or did
totally.
that,
And to transition from back to the Led Zeppelin thing to now, you can definitely tell there is the Trent Reznor influence to it.
Yeah.
It just kind of takes it to that next level. Okay, now what are we going to evolve to next?
Yeah. And it's, again, this is what, 97? So like, this is like
Yeah.
Prodigy. This is Massive Attack, Aphex
Yep.
Twin. Like, this is all going down at this time. So they're just catching that wave too,
Perfect.
right?
Yeah, totally.
Perfect.
Yeah. I can't believe Temptation was actually a single out on the radio. Like, I remember when it first hit, and like it seemed like it was everywhere, but I remember being in someone's car and it was cranked. And I was like,
Yep.
holy shit.
Yep. And the video for that is just unreal, man. I don't know how they shot that. It seems like it was all done in one take.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the video.
Where it's like a labyrinth almost, and there's just
It's like the perfect drug.
1,000 people doing 1,000 different things, and the camera zooms in on this, and what's happening in this little cubicle of the maze, and what's happening in this, and then it goes on, the vocals, and it goes searches around somewhere else, and then there's on the drums.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're thinking Babylon.
Wasn't that Temptation? No, that was Temptation, wasn't it?
It's the that song.
No.
I know because I remember that video because they're just
waited
it's like
so
all one shot.
long.
And they
Yeah,
just
'cause
go
he's
from, like,
hanging
cubicle
in
to
the-
cubicle,
yeah.
and there's like he's like swinging from the
Yeah.
chandelier and like
Okay, I thought that was
But the
you're right.
Temptation video is good too. They're pretty sure he's walking
It's
through a
like-
labyrinth in that one too.
It's very
Yeah.
9 Inch Nails. There's like water and then like an alligator tail. It's kind of like very high contrast.
Yeah.
Then they're in a concrete, looks like silo, and
Like they got a lot of money to
waist
shoot
deep
these
in
videos,
water.
Yeah,
You know,
It's all right. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
Tea Party.
yeah.
But I don't know. I like other than the hits. I think like and I let me take that away because I do like Babylon. I Temptation's not bad.
it's killer.
I just again this is another band, the band that introduced me to and kind of had a little bit more because we've talked about what we thought was lame as having a keyboard in your band to like having this and being like, this is so cool, like just all these samples and sounds and loops and beeps and bops, and you're like, this is cool, and it's like over top of like Indian music and like really heavy guitar and screaming kind of. I don't know, it was like again at the right time for me too. In 97 it kind of hit at the right time, and I listened to it heavy rotation.
I think we incorporated some keyboard into some songs with Phoenix Foundation. I remember we had like keyboard
just
on a
but
digital
because
delay.
of this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
because
We
of
were just
that,
like,
to open that
okay,
up.
it's okay to do this
Yeah,
now.
they said it's all right. They made it cool, so let's do it now.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I don't know this, and this album sounds like it's like was recorded in the Manson house, kind of, like it's got that.
yeah.
But again, the recording of it is the recording of the drums, especially, and I find that on every single one of these albums is just like supreme. Like it's unbelievable, and I don't know how they did it, or he did it, or whoever did it, but like the drums just sound so good, and same thing on this album. Yeah.
I'm wondering, I'm just checking this out here. It was recorded in 3 separate studios. So Alchemical in Montreal, NRG in Los Angeles, and Le Studio.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that one?
Yep.
That
The Rush,
Rush
studio that's not around anymore.
not
but yeah.
around anymore. But I'm wondering if they tracked drums in that studio.
Oh, maybe.
It sounds like they track drums all in one spot, because I don't see how you can get that consistency.
Yeah.
If you're on drums, I mean, anything else you can kind of work with, but drums, the room
You
is
have
a
the mercy
big
of the
thing.
room, exactly. I wonder if they did it in the studio just because of the fact that whole Rush video was Neil Peart.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. If you can, why not? Makes it even cooler. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like this album. I wrote down too that his buddy gave him an Emulator 2 synthesizer from the 1980s, and that's what he was just messing around on to get a lot of the like bare bones ideas for this album, and then the other guys came in and filled in the rest of the parts. But I thought that was cool too.
Yep.
Just kind of messing
Right.
around on an old synth just to get all these songs.
Yeah, it's a good tool to influence and spark your imagination for writing. It's cool.
Yeah, and again, I looked up some of these things on this album, and there's lots of like, references to like George Orwell and like, lots of alchemy things again that I don't got the time to dive into, but they seem kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I need a quick version on what these are all about, but lots of different
Yeah.
things taken from different writers too that are on this album. So, but again, I saw this album. I saw them do this one live too, and it was again good. And I don't know if you guys were at any of those shows for Transmission, but
I think I might have. That was maybe an Edge Fest.
I think it was. I think that they did Edge
the
Fest
time.
for Edges of Twilight, and then like 2 years later for this one, like because
when you saw it,
yeah.
was it like a middle of the day type of thing, or were you in like a
No, it was middle of the
dark-
day. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was
Yeah.
middle of the day. I remember one where they had like the all like foil background, and it was just like kind of waving in the wind. It looked like they had aluminum foil in the backdrop, and it just I don't know if you remember that one, but yeah, no, they were good on this album too. Like as far as performing it live, it was solid. We missed the EP in there too, the Alhambra. Did you guys listen to that?
I didn't check it out.
I did not. No.
Yeah, I remember it coming out, but I didn't buy it. So we won't talk about it. Okay, so were you guys still around for Triptych? Were you still kicking around there, or
fell
were
off.
you guys gone by
Favorite
that point?
album.
I fell off for Triptych just because
Really?
the radio songs Touch was
Oh, I
awesome.
love that song.
Yeah.
So good. But then once they had, Heaven Coming Down
Yeah.
Just
And-
like
and the Messenger, where I could every day or every morning at the exact same time,
yeah.
my alarm clock would go off and it would be the Bear, and they would have that either Heaven Coming Down or the Messenger at the exact time that my alarm would go off. Fucking exact.
Got a letter
or-
from a messenger.
Every morning, and I hated it. The first time I heard it was okay. It's just the second my alarm goes off, that song is on. It's just like what's the live song, Dolphins Cry or whatever, the same thing. What the hell was that song?
You know you could change
I don't
the
know.
channel.
It was the Bear. I didn't want anything
K
else.
Rock, man.
listen
Put
to-
on the K Rock.
Yeah. Well, anyway, at the time, it was just at that exact moment. Every day that song would come on, and it would just piss me off every fucking time.
And you know what? I kind of feel like that's what sort of killed this band.
Yeah. The
radio hits.
And this is the first album
Yeah.
that it felt like radio hits.
Yeah.
Every other album were like really cool video hits, much music. This thing is, it was all great. And then this album came out and they started doing radio hits for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then I was done.
But take away Heaven Coming Down and The Messenger. Erase them
Messenger.
from the album.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
if you listen to the rest of those tracks, they're solid. Again, even in 1999, right? Or
Yeah.
2000, whenever this came out, 99, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
99. I mean, and you take into account what's going on at this point too, right? In 1999 in music, and again, nobody's doing stuff like Touch and but
no.
1999, baby.
I mean,
And that's the thing too. I was
5
into
million
heavier
hits on
stuff.
Heaven Coming Down, right? Like that's why you make it,
Yeah.
And I couldn't stomach it. That was the radio hit that everyone liked.
Yeah.
Just like you go see Santana and they're waiting for the one song, Debba Smooth, and then it became that sort of thing for me. So I was done. And at that time, I mean, I was into heavier music around 97 anyway and on.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay. I mean, no.
Yeah.
I'll do something else. But now going back the past year or so, giving it a listen, skipping the radio tracks, yes, definitely it has merit. So
yeah.
It was ranked number 435 in Rock Hard Magazine's book, the 500 greatest rock and metal albums of all time.
I'm like, how many was that out of? 500.
8,000.
Juno nominated.
Yeah, Juno nominated.
In fact, yes, Juno nominated. They didn't win one, but I don't know. This one's my favorite album.
Really?
Yeah, and I think it's even with like the overplayed 2 tracks that we just referenced. I think to me it kind of validates this album as, you know, this was pop music for Canada back in the late 90s.
Yep.
So they did it, right? Like it was something that was revered and people celebrated, but also it's quite I think it's fairly like heavy. I kind of find it like they're going back to a lot of the stuff that worked. And I feel like they're getting it right on this album. Where like Edges of Twilight is just they got the influences cranked to 11.
Yep.
That's why I asked like if you think it holds up. I mean, in my ears, I'm like maybe not so much. It's a bit spicy. It's a little spicy.
It's world music-y.
It's world music-y, which is fine if that's why I'm like I can't believe every kid like had like it was a Justin Bieber album, but anyway, I digress. I think this is where they got it right. They got the Eastern influences, they got the electronica, they got the ballads in there as well. It might be kind of like focused towards a radio audience, but this album I think to me is a really good kind of final product of all of the ones prior. And like they had another album after this or no?
Oh, they got a bunch after
they had
this.
a
They
bunch.
keep going.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I was
That's where I
gone.
stopped,
I was
guys.
definitely gone after this album because I had this one. I think I got it for free, and then I was gone because of that though, right? Like, because of Heaven Coming Down and The Messenger. I saw those videos and I'm like,
Fuck yeah!
What are you doing?
You know, he's like, and I read somewhere he was like, yeah, we almost got Scott. What's not Scott Scorch? Scott from Creed. What was his name?
Scott Stapp.
Jesus. Yeah, Scott Stapp. We almost had Scott Stapp was almost on the album.
Who's coming back on another Creed tour, but we're not going to get into that.
But you could definitely like hear those influences.
oh
right?
yes, yes. Arms wide open.
Yeah.
Yeah, Inner Zone Mantras in 2001. I can't even name a song off of this. I went through it. But so then I can't talk to you, at least, Dane, about the next one of these albums. Maybe, Mike, you've heard it, but did you listen to The Ocean at the End?
No.
Oh.
It was one of those things. Once Triptych came out,
Well, I mean, like now, like
didn't.
in this last week,
No.
have you listened to it?
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't have time.
Just
I went back.
scroll through it, The Ocean at the End in 2014, and just let me know your thoughts on that one because I put it on. There's a couple sea shanties on there.
The Black Sea.
You guys got to listen to it.
Okay. Black Roses. Another black song on here.
Yeah, look at all this, all these Sun Shower, Hole in My Heart, Summertime. They got all these songs like.
But this is the first album they did after they shut it down, because they shut it down in 2004 or 5 and then came back in 2011, was it not? So this is just okay, we're back 10 years later. What do we got now?
Yeah, like they all did.
Yeah, sea shanties.
They all did that. It feels like they were the Tea Party. Now they came back as the Tea Party.
Well, it's kind of funny too, because I just got something that popped up here on my socials that said Tea Party and I Mother Earth are on tour now.
Oh, is Edwin in there?
I didn't
Noah's
see
other dude.
the other guy. Yeah. Anyway,
I bet you it's Edwin.
Hard
What the
Rock
hell is he
Casino
doing
in
now?
Vancouver.
It didn't work out. Like
he was gonna be the star. He left and he was the fucking star, and then he did one thing and
it was awesome drama,
Which
though.
was not bad.
I kind of like that album,
single.
man.
Yeah.
There's
He
a couple
didn't
tracks
do
on there
anything
that
after
are
that, though.
not bad.
But compared to
Yeah, it was the wrong
compared
move.
to the
Oh,
first,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
first two I Mother Earth.
Yeah, no, at
Yeah.
the time, not the time to do it. No, speaking of that solo stuff, have you listened to any Jeff Martin's solo work?
I have not. Does it sound like Tea Party?
Yeah.
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 It does.
Yeah.
It does. But I mean, he's
Yeah.
got quite a few. Well, I shouldn't say quite a few. He's only got, I think, maybe 2 or 3 albums, or like songs, I should say, like EPs kind
Yeah.
of stuff. But, and he's got a full,
I saw the name.
full album. Just came out.
It's a full, like, couple full albums.
Yeah, like that. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's like 7 songs, 32 minutes. But
Oh,
like,
okay.
It's, it starts with like Indian raga and like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, right? But
And the wah pedal that Dane hates.
Wow, 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 wow. Come on.
Yeah, I have issues with that too. Just when guitarists use like a tremolo pedal, and it's the same sort of sound where it's like the wah 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 wah. I can't handle it in my ears. It bothers me.
Right.
So
Yeah.
same kind of a flow.
it's like somebody's got the window in the back open and you're rolling down the highway, right? Like
Exactly.
that
Exactly.
same kind of sound.
Shut your fucking window.
Or at least open both so it's balanced.
That's right.
God.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah. I couldn't even with that. I was like, Jeff Martin 777. Frick.
Yeah.
You lost me at 7.
370 monthly listeners. Like, nobody's listening to that either. So,
Yeah.
but again, you're right, Mike. I mean, they've made it, a go of it for a really long time, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think that's
And
the
most
goal.
bands
right?
can't
Like,
make it
to
that
be able
long.
to do
Yeah.
that. And I mean, if you told me that we were only big in Canada and Australia, I'd be cool with that.
Yeah.
Like
They made their money in the 2 countries, and they're still going. Like I said, with the new tour, they're still making money.
are they
If you can do that now, why
are they
not?
playing Kelowna or Penticton?
Vancouver?
Oh, Vancouver. Okay.
What are they
So-
playing?
Pardon?
What venue?
What venue? Oh, I don't.
The Esso.
The ABS
sorry,
Casino.
Okay. Hard Rock Casino. So I guess now they're a casino band.
It's
But
at the Hard Rock?
Hard Rock Casino.
Oh my god, I was just kidding.
It's their casino band.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
But still,
I would go.
I'd go too.
I would definitely.
would,
For
I
sure.
would
Go.
too. Yep.
Absolutely. Well, it's
Oh, yeah.
it's Dream Theater here tomorrow, so I'm
Are you going? Did you get it?
well, I haven't got tickets yet. I'm hoping I can just get them at the door. I don't think it's going to be that
Just
busy.
I don't know, man. It's Dream Theater and
But Mike Portnoy doesn't play with them anymore.
Devin
I thought he
Townsend,
did,
man.
but he's not in there anymore. But
Yeah.
still, I kind of
for
feel
it.
like I got to go at least see Dream Theater. But I want to see Animals as leaders, and I want to see Devin Townsend too. So like they're and it's
go for heavy
playing at
Devi,
the
man.
hockey arena.
Really?
Yep. Go for heavy Devi. You will not be let down.
So I thought Devin Townsend would stop touring.
No, he just changes it up. He changes his style. He does an acoustic thing, and then he does his metal thing, and then he writes with like an orchestra, and then he just keeps going.
I read an interview where he was like, "It's too expensive to tour. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm done."
Well, it's definitely too expensive to tour, but he has different lanes.
Right. Okay.
If the Devin Townsend project touring that, yes, it's difficult, but now I can go out and do an acoustic tour by myself and make some money, and then I can do, some big, just with orchestras and shit, and then I can do something else, and then
Right.
yeah, I mean he's still able to survive, which is awesome, but he's had to stream down huge.
Yeah, and like he's not playing like Rogers Arena. They're playing at like Thunderbird Arena here, like on campus.
But
so-
great.
yeah.
Even better.
Yeah.
That's
Still
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but so we'll see. I gotta see if I can get into that. I should be able to.
You should.
Yeah,
Make it happen.
got to run down there. It's like 10-minute walk, so I can do that. I can do that.
You'll make
I'll
it.
You got a hoverboard yet?
No, I wish.
You should at least get yourself a longboard, man, or some rollerblades.
Oh, yeah, there was a guy on rollerblades today. I'm like, I didn't see a guy with rollerblades until today, and he was just cruising. I'm like, that's it. But
Wait,
everybody
you-
who's like delivering food, they're just cruising on like the hoverboards. It's just like
The hoverboards.
skip the dishes, guys.
Get a
just
longboard, man.
like, just going on his whatever.
Get a longboard. Land Yachts is down there. Go fucking pick one
Oh
up.
yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah. No, that stops me from walking.
Or go to the Valley Village and get yourself some rollerblades. Just watch out for rocks.
Yeah, they'll kill you.
Yeah. Literally.
Oh man.
But to finish off Tea Party, yeah, I good choice because again, it reminded me how much influence that band had on me back
Yep.
in the day.
Right.
But again, I kind of
So
realized
much.
why once I go back and realize that we listened to this band a really long time ago, and it's kind of been in that fabric of my whole music learning, and you know what I
Totally.
mean? Yeah, they've just always been there. So, but again, another underrated Canadian band that, again, I'm not quite sure why the U.S. didn't catch on. I don't understand that. But there's a lot of that can rock I don't
Didn't-
really understand either why it didn't catch on. So
Didn't sell enough Budweiser.
yeah,
What's that?
It didn't sell enough Budweiser.
Me.
yeah.
Maybe.
But you know, I even think too, like Our Lady Peace, like a comparable band to this band. You know, not musically, but you know, at the time, big, but it made it big in the States. You know,
Did they? I guess that.
yeah, like
that
I listen to
one hit,
Sirius XM,
Superman's
like
Dead.
Lithium, and they'll play like Superman's Dead, and like they'll
Yeah.
play that on there. So I'm like, I didn't think that either, and I'm like, okay, like they made it down here too. Like it's one of the few Canadian
the
bands
songs
that
were
will
more
play that
simple.
from that era. But
The songs were more simple and digestible.
Our Lady Peace, you mean? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Tea Party.
You're
They're
right.
just there was too many layers.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Although I have no idea how I was able to listen to Rain Maida's voice. It's terrible.
I still can't.
That first
I
album
had
is
absolutely
okay.
Yeah.
That first album is got a couple tracks, but like, yeah.
Oh
his
man, I
voice
loved
is-
that first album.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, I did too.
Anything after that was painful. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, no, that
Yeah.
the Clumsy album was like just radio hit after radio hit. It was trash. But the first album is I liked it. But again, I go back and listen to it, and it's a little bit of a tough listen because of his voice.
So I wonder if this is like the detriment, right, to these Canadian bands where you see them like it happened with Our Lady Peace on their sophomore album, and then with the Tea Party on their, what do you call the third album, the fucking third album, whatever. They're trying to hit this formula, which is just it seems as though it's very like either you hit or you're done.
Yeah.
And it's
Well, the whole can rock wave was a blip in time.
yeah.
Really. I mean, it didn't expand past 90, 97. As soon as 97 hit, it was just like, okay, the can rock thing is over.
Yeah, it changed
What
to like a
else is
different
going on?
kind of thing of Canadian music
Yeah.
kind of thing, right? But
Nelly Furtado.
yeah, that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like Sum 41 and like
Black Eyed Peas
Yeah.
and
that stuff, right? But
Yeah.
like,
changed. Yeah.
yeah, I know you're right. It was a very small blip in time, but man, was that bright! Like for in Canada,
Yeah, it burned.
Again, I mean, we've done a Can Rock episode, but it's just amazing how that, how it all hit at the same time, and another mashup of all these different bands that didn't really all kind of sound like anybody,
Yeah, very true. Yeah, taking influences from everywhere.
Yeah.
And the internet wasn't even running yet, man.
It wasn't
Really,
but you
man?
knew about all these little bands too in Canada that like the Doughboys and like
Yep.
just little bands that even the smalls, right? Like all these kind of bands that we've covered, like you
Oh,
just
man.
kind of
Yeah,
you knew about them though. Somebody had it
Mm-hmm.
or somebody listened to it, right? It just got passed around.
What was the name of that band that did the dun 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 and Daddy's
Wide Mouth Mason.
Wide Mouth Mason?
Oh yeah, wide mouth, yeah.
I win. Fucking
Daddy's
win.
back in the
Yeah.
in the
I
backyard.
I
Yeah,
saw them
that one.
opening up
Yeah.
for I saw them opening up for ZZ Top in 97, 96, 97. It's the
Yeah.
only time I saw them, but yeah.
I saw them in Reds.
Once again, another blip in
Dane, you were
time.
at that show, weren't you? I think we saw
I
them
think
there.
so. They were great.
Yeah, they were good.
They were really.
Yeah,
I
so
really
good.
liked them.
Yeah. I think we saw them for free too at K-Days one year. They were playing there.
Yeah.
You know.
All produced by Gordy Johnson of Big Sugar,
Yeah.
so that's rad.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
And again, that's
Yeah.
probably how we found out about them,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like it just, you knew about all those little ones.
I almost want to put Big Sugar, and I think I'm dragging this out a bit too far here.
Last
I almost
thing.
want to put Big Sugar in a different category because to me, that band is a bit sacred to me. Where all these other
totally.
ones that we've mentioned, like they were great for a moment in time, but like I can go to any Big Sugar album, and like I remember when I first got back to Canada in 2018. We're
Yeah.
driving through Jasper.
Heaven
and,
in Alberta.
yeah, and I like
Yeah.
started
L for
crying.
bacon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
Love
that we almost need a Big Sugar Gordy Johnson
Absolutely.
episode. You know,
think we should.
That would be good.
and he's still doing it. T, you were sending me some stuff with him.
And they're doing so much shit, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome. They're all over the place, and he's been living in Texas for
I
the past
bet.
20 years, and doing the Grady thing for whatever that was, and then now it's Big Sugar again, and
The Grady stuff's
yeah,
great.
they're still going. I get updated all the time with tours. It's and little shows. It's killer, man. He's doing his thing. So
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do a Big Sugar Gordy because we need to do a
Nice.
whole dive on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
done.
But good pick on Tea Party. That was
Yeah, totally.
Like again, it was one of those bands I didn't know I needed again, and it brought it back. So I like it.
Thank you for that one. Thank you for that one.
All right, we want you guys to subscribe, share, and review this podcast. Keep it going, keep it strong, because we're having a great time entertaining you guys with B-Sides and Beers podcast.